dealers.
This is KGBT TV, the Valley's news leader. News 4 at 10 begins now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Irma Chapa. You're about to see something that is hardly ever seen, an illegal alien roundup in progress. News 4 photographer Glenn Sierra captured the event tonight during Operation Rio Grande. Our Dave Johnson is live with this exclusive report.
Irma, the Border Patrol began Phase 2 of Operation Rio Grande today, an operation that began back in August, and tonight we saw firsthand the reason why.
It just went out right now?
Under the light of a full moon, agents have hit the jackpot. A seismic sensor has detected the movement of a large group of people. Agents quickly swarm in and make the bust.
One of the agents popped the levee without his lights, or came over the levee without his lights and saw one subject running. And when he turned on his lights, it was a big group.
The group's leader says one has been left behind, unable to keep up with the rest. Agent Gabe Bustamante and I began a search through a barren field just off the Rio Grande.
We're going to backtrack this group. We're going to backtrack the group and see where the lady, see if we can find the lady.
She is hiding in the thick, deep brush. In her condition, she is actually happy to see us. Her tail is an ever-growing one in Zone 3, located just behind the PUB plant in Brownsville. With Zone 1 under control, Border Patrol agents have begun expanding their efforts to the outlying regions. This is a part of the Rio Grande that is very rarely seen, the raging waters, if you will, in sharp contrast to the calm, tranquil waters that we're used to seeing. What makes this much more treacherous is that it's a much smaller, concentrated point for crossing from Mexico into the United States. However, the very nature of these waters makes it very, very dangerous for people trying to cross over. Tuesday, the Border Patrol will begin patrolling the Rio Grande in these, using boats for the first time ever. Well, Irma, in about a 2.5 hour period today, we watched the Border Patrol firsthand capture about 45 illegal aliens. They say it's just another day at the office.
All right, thanks, Dave, for that live report. Dave Johnson is here with part 2 of our special report on the latest developments in Operation Rio Grande.
As you know, Operation Rio Grande began back in August with much fanfare. Well, 6 months later, the area around the Gateway Bridge appears to have been contained. Virtually no activity in and around the area called Zone 1. Well, now the Border Patrol is implementing Phase 2 of the operation in the outlying areas. Areas like Zone 3, a section of land located behind the public utility plant in Brownsville, an area where the crossing between the United States and Mexico is significantly shorter, albeit much more treacherous. Don't even think about crossing here. Agent Gabe Bustamante blares over his bullhorn. He's been patrolling this area so long, he knows it like the back of his hand.
Looks like it drops about 8 feet or so, gradual drop about 8 feet. It just gains. There's a lot of rocks here.
With the bright halogen lights shining on this side of the Rio Grande, illegal alien traffic has dropped dramatically along the Gateway Bridge near Matamoros. But much like the effect when you squeeze a balloon, the mass has shifted to Zones 2 and 3, where the terrain is much more defined. By day, the influx of aliens is much more pronounced. This group of 10 is captured relatively easily, but as daylight gives way to darkness, agents have to rely on more advanced technological equipment.
There's some big-time smuggling operation going throughout all of Matamoros, and once they get over here, they have their cohorts picking them up and distributing them throughout the United States.
We are in a very remote zone called Zone 3 just off the Rio Grande, and it's so remote over here that it's very tricky and it's very difficult in order to pull yourself up through the river, but that's what more and more illegal aliens are doing these days. You can see their presence of socks and other clothes that they've left through the debris. Seismic sensors buried in the ground have detected the movement of this large group. Infrared sensors are also used up and down the Rio Grande to put a dent in the illegal traffic.
Backtrack the group and see where the lady, see if we can find the lady.
Well, Irma, on Thursday, the Border Patrol began using boats for the first time to patrol the Rio Grande in order to catch more drugs and aliens.
All right, thanks, Dave. Dave Johnson is live in our newsroom with the story.
Irma, you're about to see something that has never been before seen here in the Valley. It's one thing to do what you're about to see during the daytime, Irma. It's a whole other ball game when you get out there under the cover of darkness, as we were given exclusive access to this evening.
It's Miami Vice comes to South Texas. You're looking at $22,000 worth of boat, the same craft used by Navy SEALs, taking to the murky waters of the Rio Grande.
I think they mesh perfectly. You know, when we work the water and we work the land, we put the land units at the exact precise spot where the aliens are trying to cross.
This would be considered the Corvette of the boat industry, the Border Patrol's newest weapon. It's a 19-foot Nautica. At speeds of up to 65 miles an hour, this 150 horsepower engine can bustle us through the river like we're standing still. It's a team effort. 26-year veteran Emilio Escovedo was at the helm. Robert Cavazos mans the bow. He acts as a spotter. Is this more fun than being on land?
Oh yeah, it's a lot different. It's a lot different. You see the different part of the river when you're down here on the river, actually, from when you're on top.
The guys who work up top man the areas of heaviest traffic. Areas like this cove, where the bright halogen lights gleam onto the water. During our daytime run, we saw a number of people actually swimming in the water. The presence of boats made their journey end prematurely. And at night, the whirling sounds of the Johnson 6-cylinder outboard engine makes crossing even tougher. Why do you personally do this? Do you get up and go to work every day and look forward to your job?
Let me tell you, I like my job. I think we make a difference.
And Irma, as we've seen all week during the special series of reports, they are indeed.
News 4's Dave Johnson and photojournalist Don Ramirez take an aerial look at the wreckage site near La Gloria.
Alongside one of the Valley's most experienced photojournalists, Don Ramirez, Dave Johnson reporting about Sky 4. We are in a grid area above the crash site. It is near the Starr County, Jim Hogg County line on a grid called 15-2. For airplane pilots, it is also the route called Victor 17, a route that goes from McAllen to Laredo. And it is along a route that includes the towns of Cuevas, Guerra, and Escobas. We are about 10 miles east, or think that west of what appears to be the Diamond O Ranch. It is a very brushy and a very shallow area. It is no wonder that it has taken authorities so long to find this area, because the brush out here is so dense and so remote, we could barely see the crash site with our naked eyes in the daytime, much less at nighttime when everybody was searching for it. As we are continuing to look over the crash site, fish and wildlife people around here, there is another rescue helicopter that has come out, but even they cannot get too close to the crash site because of the denseness of the area. It appears that there has been a huge fire of some sort in this area. That is basically all we know at this point. I'm Dave Johnson on Sky 4 above the crash site. Back to you in the studio.
Our top story, a Brownsville City Commissioner is coming under fire tonight, and a packed house at City Hall let him know how they felt. Dave Johnson was at the meeting. Dave, what happened out there tonight?
Well, what happened, Irma, was a call for the resignation of Commissioner Bud Richards. You see, he has angered a large group of police officers and Brownsville taxi drivers by using such terms as Nazi Gestapo and taco wagons.
Your tongue lashings have affected many hardworking members of this fine city.
As a large crowd looked on, Police Union President Ray Rosas called Richards a disgrace.
With this in mind, we find your comments unforgivable.
All I said was the truth. That's all we want to come out. And he knows, as an elected city official, he knows better than to make comments like that.
Comments likening Brownsville taxis to taco wagons.
Did you use the phrase taco wagons?
Probably.
Can you see where somebody might have considered that somewhat offensive?
I understand the editing that you do, and gosh, we've shot a lot of film that we'll squeeze down to 30 seconds. For your
probably 2 minutes.
2 minutes. For your information, what the analogy was back then, I think, was some of our cabs reflect back on the Herb Alpert days of the Tijuana taxis. Okay, from that you can derive a whole lot of things. I don't think it's derogatory. I think it's descriptive.
We don't got no taco wagons. We got a service for the community. We do our best, and that's what we can do, you know. But he insulted not even me, all my people here. All my people here.
Is this man a racist in your opinion, or is he just insensitive, or what?
Right now, he's insensitive.
Then there was a comparison between the Brownsville Police Department and the Nazi Gestapos. Richards says he was standing up for a woman who was handcuffed and dragged off to jail because she simply ran a stop sign. Richards said it was a comment made in private, but he defended the context in which it was made.
I think that's going a little bit too far.
But that comparison was denounced by City Manager Carlos Rubenstein, who is Jewish, in a letter to Mayor Henry Gonzalez. We showed the letter to Richards, who said the Gestapo comment was made in private.
This thing don't come out to resignation, we're going to look forward to a recall.
Let me just ask you flat out, will you resign?
Flat out, no. I'm not going to resign. I'm going to be here to represent the citizens of Brownsville. That's what my job is. That's what they want me to do, and I'll do it. I ain't no quitter, Bubba.
Richards went on to say that if there were 30 people who didn't like his actions, then in comparison there would be another 3,000 who would support him. And I've got a feeling, Irma, there's going to be a whole lot more in this story in the days and weeks to come. Back to you.
I anticipate that. We'll count on you to keep us.
These past 24 hours have been getting more bizarre by the minute.
Sir, you want to turn that thing off me?
It is a tale of computers, chemicals, and cynicism.
I don't have no desire to be on TV. I want you to get this off of me, okay?
A computer used to send a threat of chemicals in a case that's getting a lot of attention, but nobody's talking.
I can't comment. Thank you.
That's because the judge in the case has issued a gag order after a media throng from Houston and San Antonio converge on the valley. Johnny Wise, Jack Grebe, and Oliver Emy are charged with threatening to use weapons of mass destruction. Federal prosecutors say they targeted the director of the FBI, the Internal Revenue Service, and other top-level officials by email last week. FBI agents raided Wise's Olmito trailer home Wednesday, apparently looking for chemicals. A hazardous materials team left with 3 quart-sized jars containing a clear liquid. The contents are being tested.
You know what he's accused of?
It is not testing the faith of one of Wise's longtime friends.
It sounds irregular. It sounds out of character with him.
A longtime friend of suspect Jack Grebe can't believe it either.
Jack's a nice guy, and I mean, I can't see him hurting anybody. He's a nice guy.
But prosecutors maintain the trio are a threat to society. The reasons why are under sealed indictment, and U.S. attorneys want to make sure they remain sealed. News 4 has learned authorities are investigating whether at least one of the men belongs to the Republic of Texas, a heavily armed anti-government group. Right-wing materials were found outside the Wise trailer home, in addition to wire and flammable materials.
This is KGBT TV, the Valley's news leader. News 4 at 5 begins now.
It's being called an ambush. An early morning shooting with a military assault rifle leaves 4 people dead.
And 3 people fighting for their lives. Muy buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Marta Benavides.
And I'm Dave Johnson. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Valley's news leader. It is a story that has shocked the Valley and has sent media as far away from New York here. Topping our news this afternoon, a story we've been covering all day long. Authorities have in custody the man they believe opened fire with an AK-47 Chinese assault rifle and killed 4 people. The motive, according to Cameron County Sheriff Omar Lucio, is a boyfriend-girlfriend dispute.
Our Jenny Davis has been covering the story since it developed this morning, and she joins us live now from the scene just south of San Benito. Jenny, what can you tell us about this horrible tragedy?
Well, Dave, Martha, right now we're standing right in front of a command post that was set up earlier this morning. Now, state and federal officials are still looking for 2 suspects that may be responsible for the deaths of 4 people earlier this morning.
This would be considered the
Massive, and this study may help explain why out of the 500,000 Americans who die each year from smoking-related illnesses, more than 50,000 never lit up themselves. I'm Dr. Dave Nida for CBS News.
Well, no matter what the sport, when two city rivals get together, it's usually heads roll.
Yeah, these two schools don't like each other, and tonight a lot is on the line. Coming up in sports, tonight's game between Harlingen and Harlingen South. C will not have any NFL football for at least 5 years. So football, NFL football, coming back to Channel 4 and CBS beginning this fall.
Welcome home.
Yes, that's what they say.
Thanks a lot. Back in just a minute. We'll be back with a live report from McAllen.
Evening at 6:30 on Channel 4.
Continuing our live coverage, terror in McAllen, 1 dead, 3 wounded, and a robbery of a campus in McAllen. Here's Allison Smith with the very latest. Allison.
Well, Dave, there's just no way that the South Texas Community College campus could have ever prepared for something like this. 2 men ran inside with masks over their face and gunned down people after demanding money from them. 1 man is dead, a 32-year-old man from La Jolla, security guard, and 3 others are seriously injured, one of them a pregnant woman, and they are in the hospital now tonight. Of course, after the men ran in, they took off, and supposedly there is a 3rd suspect that was in the getaway car. Now, the scene inside, of course, was completely tragic. There were people running all around screaming, people ducking for cover, people running out of the building. We talked to a few witnesses tonight that were able to speak to us, but mostly we saw a lot of teary eyes, a lot of people unable to speak, completely scared, and they were being, of course, escorted by investigators and told not to speak to the press. Now, inside the building, we know now that the body of the 32-year-old La Jolla man is still inside, and that the Justice of the Peace is inside there, probably declaring his body dead at this time. And as we know, this is just absolutely a tragic scene. There's not much more that we can tell you at this time. Of course, Roy Cantu will bring us all the updates tomorrow morning in his package. Dave?
Allison, I understand the details are sketchy. I will ask you, though, just to begin with, did anybody that you know of hear any demands in particular, any type of accents that may have been detectable, any type of facial things that may have been seen through the mask? Any clues at all as to who these gentlemen are?
Well, police did not say that they heard them in, or that witnesses heard the men saying anything. They really could not tell us. Witnesses say, of course, that the men were demanding money. People were giving them money, even though the people here were on financial aid, so it's not as if they had that much money to give. But they were giving money to the people, and then suddenly, I guess, one of them just got irritated, and shots rang out. And the next thing you know, you have 1 man dead and 3 seriously injured. Dave?
It is truly a tragic situation. Allison Smith, thanks. Now, here's one of the stories you'll be reading in your morning newspaper. Valley Morning Star will have more on protests between state police and Indian protesters in Chiapas. Larry?
Our forecast tonight indicates it's going to be cloudy and mild, some light rain, about a 30% chance. Temperatures into the low to the mid-60s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and warm, a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures might struggle to get into the 70s.
Okay, appreciate it, Larry. If there is an arrest in this bizarre breaking story, we'll have it for you tonight. Otherwise, we'll have the very latest for you first thing tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, and of course, throughout tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you then.
Good night, all.